What's cool about the trailer is really just being able to park at all these trailheads, and for the most part, nothing beats being able to wake up in the morning and go straight to skiing without having to drive anywhere. Go straight into ski boots, pop off your ski boots at the end of the day and you're already home, you know, put some food on. Originally, I built this thing so I could head to Western Canada and pursue a couple classes I was looking at taking there. I looked at staff housing, I looked at apartments and stuff like that. I just thought this was such a cool option. I had a little money saved up, started building this thing, and when I brought it up to my parents, especially my dad who's a craftsman, I thought he was going to try to talk me out of it, being the sensible man that he is. And on the other hand, he'd been watching van life conversion videos for months on end, so when I told him about this idea, he was all about it and he already had all these plans and stuff. So yeah, this ended up being very much a father and son project. I'm completely off-grid. I have solar panels on top. I built this thing to be comfortable enough to live extended periods of time in without it being too complicated that I wouldn't be able to fix it while on the road. I started this whole build by adding 1.5 inches of closed cell spray foam all around. Provides fantastic insulation. I then added wood planks all around. It's 5/8 plywood just cut into tongue and groove to give it this log cabin feel. After that, we started building the cabinets and everything else you see, the bed frame, everything else. So I heat this whole trailer with the Cubic Mini Grizzly. It burns these little 5-inch logs. It actually burns super hot. The bummer part about it is it doesn't burn through the night. So around like 2 or 3 a.m. I gotta start filling it back up or I gotta start adding a couple blankets. So that's not ideal. But I did get this fancy fan. That works super well. It's one of 2 ways I heat it. So in the mornings when I wake up and it's a little chilly, I'll start up my little propane burner, which I have on the side. Other than that, I got a bunch of gear hanging here. I didn't want to make a closed wardrobe or anything. I really want my stuff to actually dry, especially I'm skiing all the time. Then I have various bags a little all around the trailer, helmets. This is my couch, turns into my bed. It's a pretty simple little 6-inch piece of foam. I covered it up with a sheet. I also keep a bunch of storage under here. Right now, I think all I have is, I got a wetsuit, some climbing gear. I got a lot of tools, you know, little things, extra propane. And then this thing pulls out, this thing folds down, and I got myself a bed. So super simple. Doesn't add a ton more room, but you definitely feel it when you're in such a small space. These are my 2 clothes bins. Other than that, I keep some haps up here. I keep a couple books. Obviously being out of the backcountry all the time, I don't usually have service most of the time, so books definitely keep me well entertained. I got a couple guides for being around the different mountains out east. I got the mountain bike helmet and a bunch of little goodies in here. I built this fancy little laptop holder, which I also put my phone there at night. Ends up being pretty handy, especially my head's there when I sleep. I have my guitar, always more things to just keep me entertained. I have my solar controller. So this charges the batteries I have in the back. And I also have my inverter. So this is only a 300 watt pure synwave inverter. I really don't run much. I run my lights, I charge my laptop, and I charge my phone, but other than that, maybe a camera here and there. For the most part, I really don't use much electricity. Also, I have my USB plugs here. A lot more efficient to charge your phone directly off of this than instead of running it through the inverter. Those hot spring days, I can still put my fan in. And then I got a super noisy fan. I work as a farmer during the summer months to be able to actually fund all of my skiing for the rest of the year. After that, I leave and I go free ride. Then I do some professional guiding as well. I bounce in between Japan, Western Canada, Eastern Canada, and the States. So anytime I'm in North America, this is my main living situation. I had originally budgeted for around $12,000, but things really add up quick. So I think easily the trailer's over 16,000 Canadian dollars, which is a little bit over budget, but for the luxuries that last, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 added, really made it more comfortable. And then after that, I just keep adding stuff and keep changing stuff. You never really perfect the house until you're living in it. I keep a like camping propane stove right here. It's still pretty easy to set up, but I found myself never really using it, and since my fire is always on, it's just so easy to just cook on my wood stove. So I do that pretty much all the time, and in case I don't start that wood stove, pull this thing out. Then all I have to do is connect to propane and I'm good to go. I have a lot of kitchen gadgets in here, some spices. I was always looking for solutions to wax my skis while out in this thing, because my inverter is not big enough to hold the heating iron to actually wax them. But I found these things, which are antique irons. I just leave it on my wood stove for a while, pop it out, leave it on, let it warm up, and then when it's up to temp, pick it right back up. I can just go out back and wax my skis. I only have really a cooler that I fill up with ice every once in a while, snow and ice. So it's a big Yeti 65 liter, holds all the food I need. Usually between this and keeping another cooler outside, which I use as my freezer, I've held enough food for easily 3 weeks. After that, I got some snacks, got some Cliff Bars, a Nutella. In this cabinet we have all of my cooking gear. I got a little lazy at this point of the build where I didn't want to figure out how to make these cabinets work. So yeah, we just put a little tab and kind of keep stuff in there. Same thing with these other triangular ones down there. As far as like using a sink and stuff goes, I don't want to have any pipes flowing all the way down. I've had past experiences with freezing temperatures where that pipe just kind of accumulates ice really slowly and eventually just clogs up. So I substitute it instead for just a bowl, which I use my water out of these jugs, which I can easily fill at pretty much any gas station. I have one of these and another one that's double the size. And if I need more water or anything, I usually just melt snow. I got my fancy little cutting board, covers everything up, gives me a little extra counter space as well. Got my towel holder. I do have another cabinet down here, holds all my toiletries, got some electronics, some extra towels, dish soap. This lower one down here holds all my boots, and got these things, which I found out are a real game changer, especially in frisky mornings. The floors takes a while to actually warm up. In the center cabinet here, it's actually a lot bigger than it looks just because we're kind of in like a little triangle spot. I have my crampons, I got, you know, snow study tools, first aid kits, a bunch of stuff like that. That bottom one, usually kind of a laundry dump, so I just throw all my dirty laundry under there. Keeps it out of the way. So this is my other heat source. This is a buddy heater. It's a propane heater, so I don't love using it. It's usually pretty moist heat that comes out of it. But on mornings where I kind of just have to get up and go, it just gives me enough heat to really be warm enough to just put on my clothes and stuff like that. But definitely not a full-time heating solution, I think. I do have, for travel, built these little things so that we could close up the cabinets and nothing falls out when we're driving and stuff. Like everyone else who lives in a kind of stealthy thing, you need to block out a lot of light. So I built these things with a nice little log cabin pattern on the back. Kind of fits right on top, creates a little extra layer of insulation as well. On those really cold nights, it actually makes surprisingly a big difference. Blocks out all the light and nobody knows I'm in here, so makes it really stealthy. I also have a table out here. Makes it pretty easy to work on anything. If I need to work on my laptop for extended periods of time, instead of just having it on my lap, I take this thing out. I have this little rail here. And it fits on just like that. Easy to work on. This thing is a Lightning all aluminum cargo trailer. It's the 6x12 version. My trailer has the one axle. This is my garage. Holds everything I really need. Different times obviously require different skis, so I have my little inventory of skis. I got my ladder that helps me reach the solar panels on top, wipe off all that snow. I change my chimney when I'm driving as well, so needed to use for that. I have a board I keep with me. Got some snowshoes, saw, axe, a cleaner for my flue pipe. in my chimney, and my whole electrical system. I have 300 watts of solar on top, which is what powers this entire trailer. I'm completely off grid. The solar panels run down from on top here, come down into the solar charge controller that we saw inside. It all feeds into a 116 amp hour carbon foam battery. It's a pretty old technology that kind of resurfaced, and there's not a ton of people making it. I think I can drain it all the way down like 20% without actually damaging anything. From there on, it all gets feeded up to a car fuse box here, and then onto the inverter and the lights and whatever else it needs to go to. In the back here, I also have these car jacks, which come in super useful. I've had up to 80 click an hour wind gusts, and I just threw these two on, threw my front jack on as well, and this thing was bomb-proof. You didn't even feel it. Instead, if I were to keep them off, the whole thing would be swaying back and forth and just uncomfortable to sleep in, really. I also got this sweet little table I use as my waxing table for my skis. On a nice day, I'll probably cook out here as well. I do have my surfboard back here. I got my mountain bike, got some lawn chairs. Yeah, this whole trailer obviously was a joint effort. It's not easy to build one of these things. I had tremendous help from my father, who's an amazing craftsman. It makes it a lot easier to have help from professionals building these things. It's not as glamorous as I think Instagram makes it out to be. Obviously there's a lot of struggles with it, but it's a small little trailer. It's super cozy. The smaller the trailer, it gets dirty a lot faster, but you can clean it up super quick. It's super easy to maintain. And it's just such a simple lifestyle when you're out here.
Be sure to subscribe to Exploring Alternatives for more videos like this. You can also follow Cedric on Instagram at Cedric Yves Denis and Bigfoot the Trailer. Thanks to everyone who made this video possible, and thanks for watching.